We got to do sharp calls. So let's get to it, my friend. Sharp calls.
Yeah, a busy week with the calls. To no surprise, I had a couple of calls about uh not just this week, but last week about that group that had bet the Browns. And other guys were just asking about what went on there. And from what I heard, it's just one of those games they missed. But people always ask, how do you handle those kind of things? And I would say that's one of those where they had to probably apologize to their customers because that was a really bad miss. Where why are you betting on Deshaun Watson after he didn't play for 2 years? But handling that, I don't know. It's everyone's different. To me, if I got a team of analysts working below me and my lowest graded guy has just been bad, I've been looking for a reason to fire him. Maybe I fire him after that kind of display on a bigger bet, just because that was truly a big swing and a miss. But it's also one of those you just kind of move on to the next week. So it was funny guys talking this week just about that where it's rare you wake up and you see a number move by 2 points or a point and a half, and you hear about that in the night. So this week, I think guys are looking at games that are the same kind of matchups of, what is the public thinking that last week that really doesn't matter cater to this week. And I know it's not really worth talking about just because I guess it is for our live listeners, the Seahawks game, but it is interesting that the public is still betting the Seahawks despite Brock Purdy. He didn't practice all week. Apparently, he can't throw. So I know a really smart group that came in on the Seahawks. I told you, Chad, if this was a Sunday game, this probably would be one of my bigger bets. But because it's Thursday, we know how wonky and weird Thursdays could be. I just couldn't do it. But we've seen the number move from 3.5 to 3. So hopefully you got that number like we talked about. We'll obviously talk about it a bunch today on Action Island. So won't bore people to death on the podcast because it's not useful information to them.
But it
All
is
right.
it is one thing to say. Seahawks 3.5. If it's in the contest at 3.5, the reason we even spent any time on it the other day is because we might put it in the contest.
Right.
That's all I have to say. What else did they call you about?
So for sides that they like, that I think me and Chad were kind of in agreement with on, but one that I saved Chad from stepping in was that Washington game. I know a really smart group. They're going to come in heavy on Washington. They're hoping the line will get down to 4 with all the public love right now on the Giants. They did take the 4.5, but I know they're waiting to get to the 4. That's just a great game to me. I feel like we're gonna end up on that game. I spotted that last week where it's just like that's a big deal. This team just had a bye week in between, so that's when we're gonna break down. But I can tell you a really smart group's gonna be in that one. So there's no way we end up on the Giants. If we're either on Washington or I would just pass on that one. They're in line with us on the Colts. They love that Colts pick. A really, 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 really smart guy who I highly respect basically told me this Colts team is they're terrible, but they're every better dream of they're going to be in these close games, and they're kind of the team that doesn't know they're terrible. Like in all these games, they're always fighting in. They just haven't given up. Matt Ryan's not giving up. We see him every game. He's literally going out there. Yeah, the picks are brutal, but they're a team that just keeps staying in these close games. So no surprise to me, they loved it. Now they did love it at 4 and above. So this is one of these games where yeah, if it's 4.5, I'll put it in. But at 4, 3.5, Chad, I don't know if I would put in our contest. But 4.5, just love that value because that's where I have this number at. I have it at 4. Just interested to hear that this is a game that this guy loves. Just because to me, I don't know. There's certain times if I make big bets, I usually want to really trust the quarterbacks or the defense. I guess he's back in the Colts D here against a Vikings team that scores on everybody though. So just an interesting play to me where he's going against this Vikings team at 1 o'clock. But like we said, Chad, we love that number as well. Uh, so not a shocker. He would take that position. And then for a game we're split on, Bengals. The pros absolutely love Tampa. I cannot get behind it, and I think it's just one of these things where these guys are going to keep going against this Bengals team because they've been an absolute cover machine. The public is fat; they are fat off betting this Bengals team. They've just been covering every week for them, and the pros are trying to catch them, and they think they're catching them here. They think this is an absolute trap. We already talked about. I just cannot get behind it. Maybe my model is spot on, and I'm overrating this, but I feel like this should be 6. If this was 6, I could start thinking Tampa. what the hell? 2.5 point difference at 3.5. The money is absolutely pouring on Cincy. The number is just not moving. So not sure what to do here, Chad. We joke all the time. The pros, they know, and this is a spot where they know, but I just don't see it. I think the book's still giving too much value to Brady and this Buccaneers team, and this is a classic professional game. The pros are taking a stance, the books are taking a stance. This will be, I'm just guessing here. I haven't talked to anyone at any sports books yet, but I will before we do our picks on Sunday. But I'm gonna guess this is a 10-1, 12-1 tickets, money, bets, everything on the Bengals. So this could be a huge trap spot. I just want people to be careful if they are thinking of backing the Cincy side.